You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday!
This is our year-ender, people.
It is.
So I hope you're okay with that because, hey, it's time for a break.
Absorb us all in while you can.
Yeah.
Absorb it all in.
And I realized the other day I'm ready for a break. It's not that I don't like doing this. It was just kind of like, I need a few
Some
weeks
other
to just
stuff
kind
that
of.
needs your focus too. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
And it's probably a good time because it seems like a lot of stuff is slowing down as far as like big news anyway. Things are probably ramping down for their own break, hopefully.
Yeah. And, some people, they go the entire run of whatever, and they do whatever they do. I mean, good on them, but we don't get paid to do this, so.
No. No.
I mean, we kind of do. Well, no, I mean.
I'm paid in the joy of your company.
Yeah, exactly. See?
Every week. See?
Every week we get to hang out and just chit-chat about whatever.
And then I keep them for far too long because it's the only time I get to really talk to him, quote unquote, face to face. So I just make up all sorts of stuff I want to talk about so I can keep him on the line. And in his head, I'm sure he's going, Lace, I've got so much stuff to do. You've got to.
But it's,
go.
I'm trying to work as we're sitting there talking.
I can
because
tell.
I know you want to sit there and keep talking, and I'm like, I do want to continue this, but I'm going to see if I can work simultaneously. That way we can talk, we can communicate, you can talk to me and whatever.
Too
and I can
nice.
still
He
get
doesn't want to
doing
tell me to
stuff.
shut up. He's like, oh my God. I got stuff
Because
to
I
do.
I miss you too. I want to hang out with you. I
One
wish
day.
we could, hang out in person, but
I do too.
the world
One
is,
day.
yeah. I mean, vaccines. They're
Right?
They're coming, hopefully.
They are coming.
So who knows?
It's looking...
Maybe by next year, sometime. This time
Right.
next year, maybe we will have seen each other in person.
Well, PAX is supposedly gonna aim for PAX East a June date, so maybe by then.
And
Maybe.
What a time to do it, because we could finally go up there and it not be cold as
Right?
all hell. So
I won't have to bring a million coats to drag around with me. Maybe by then I'll have had the surgery and I can walk around with y'all.
I mean,
or
it
you
would
might
be
have to push
fantastic.
me around. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, whatever it takes, as long as it means we get to spend some quality time together, I'm perfectly
That's
fine
all
with
I
it.
need. That's all I need.
Yeah. So what? Oh, you know what I did? I
do?
did? Because we talked. I don't know if we talked about it here, but I know I had mentioned it to you, and then I was like, oh, I want to check this out, and then you watched it before I did. I finally watched Freaky.
Yes.
What about that?
I thought it was fun.
Yeah. So anybody who doesn't know, Freaky is a movie that is kind of in theaters, but you can do the theater, in your
Like
home.
the streaming at home, yeah,
Yep.
like on demand or whatever they're calling it.
Premium VOD.
Right.
Whatever. There's 100 different names for it. Anyway, the idea is it's a Freaky Friday horror movie. So if you watch the trailer, serial killer who is Vince Vaughn, which is ideal casting for this.
I mean, he had to have so much fun with that character.
yeah.
Let's be real. Even her, I
Yeah.
have to say, that had to be fun.
So Vince Vaughn is a serial killer in the vein of Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, but he does have this, like, he's got that freakish strength, and he's going around with the mask on killing people, but he also speaks. He's not a mute. But he gets an ancient artifact, goes after a girl and stabs her, and then when he stabs her, they swap bodies.
Yep.
And then at that point it becomes a race to get your body back before it becomes permanent, just in the vein of Freaky Friday and so on. It's a very unique concept when you take a very familiar story that has been told time and again.
Sure.
I mean, how many Freaky Friday movies have there been?
At least 4 or 5 that I can think of, or at least using that formula to tell their story. Yeah.
But to then put a spin on it. And, you know, I was even thinking the way they kind of played the story, and this is not spoiler, so I'm not going to spoil anything.
Trying to not, anyway.
But if you honestly look at how that pitch meeting went, all the writer and director had to say was Freaky Friday the 13th. Boom.
Boom. Right.
There you go. And we're like, tell me more.
Yes. What else do you have in store? No, it was a lot of fun. That's the first time I had done one of those brand new ones at home or whatever. So the Hubs and I did it. I admit though, I did it off of Sony just because I was like, Amazon, you're good for a while, right? Like if I give someone else some money for a minute, but because those are the 2 places that I found it. I'm sure it might be on others that I just didn't go searching, but it just had to be such a fun character to play.
And I'll say this for anybody who maybe isn't keen on super gory horror movies, this is pretty intense when it comes to that, but it's very minimal. Like when it happens, it's like super gore.
Yeah,
but
like it's kind of over the top, maybe for kind of comedy too, because it's like so over the top you can't help but laugh, like Jesus, that's ridiculous kind of thing. But it is gory,
like the one kill that happened, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but you'll know what I'm talking about. When it happened, I was like, fatality, because it was like, holy crap, that was like Mortal Kombat level.
First one.
So it was just insane. But again,
I started laughing. What does that say about me? I just started laughing maniacally. I'm like, what? Come on.
Yeah. But again, it's it's few and far between. It's really, really funny. That's like the great takeaway from it, because watching that whole scenario play out and how it works and whatnot. But just do be aware that if you're kind of sensitive to gore,
that's true. I didn't
just
think of that.
Just be prepared. But also, it's a very good movie that is also very funny. So if you're looking for a comedy with a little something extra and you can tolerate the gore, highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
It's a good flick. It was a good time.
Yeah.
Enjoyed it.
So I'm glad I did that. And I know I've mentioned this before while we're on the subject of horror movies. I've been on this Universal monster kick. And I guess I was kind of going back to it, playing, just dabbling into them, because it's so amazing that back in the 30s they were doing what Marvel is doing now, and no one can seem to understand how to do today, where they're mishmashing all these monsters together, and then to bring it around to Abbott and Costello in some weird way and make it work. And someone was even talking about that. It was just like, why can't they do that today? And I was like, yeah, why can't they? Like, think about this. I don't know of any, like, really trying to think of a comedy duo that would kind of work in today's standards. But maybe somebody like Key and Peele, since...
That's actually one of the first ones that popped into my mind, too. Like, Mind Reader at the same time. Weird.
Jordan Peele is already kind of doing these horror flicks.
Sure.
Key and Peele meet and then fill in the blank.
Oh my God, that would be awesome.
Would it not? So do something like that today.
They had to have thought of this. They had to have. They're too brilliant in their medium.
I would hope so, because I think something like that would work. And what makes Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein is probably the only one that I can remember watching. I don't know if I watched any of the other crossovers, because I think they did The Invisible Man and The Mummy, and I'm not sure if there were any others. Those are the only 2 or 3 that I can think of. But what makes that work is one of the concerns, one of the reasons that Boris Karloff didn't come back and play the monster again, is he thought that they were going to be making fun of or doing a parody of the monsters.
Oh.
So he was just like, I don't feel like that's right. I don't want to do that to these
Yeah.
characters that I played. But what they did is they stayed true to who those characters were, while then putting Abbott and Costello in those situations, and it almost pays homage to both. So you're getting their comedy elements, but you're still staying true to who these characters are, the monsters, in their own right.
Yeah.
So it never really went into parody. It was just like, here's this monster mashup, Dracula, Wolfman, Frankenstein's monster, and then you're putting Abbott and Costello in the movie. Boom. And it works.
Yeah, I mean, just think about the situation. Just like it's the same genre, but now how does it play if you just put them in it and go?
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
So the horror comedy element has been done. Now, granted, horror back then it's tame in comparison.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Because there's like a part of me that would really like to time travel, because this is realistic. Time travel back to the 30s and watch theater or moviegoers in the theater watching Frankenstein or Dracula or the Wolfman and see them react to what we were just watching. Be like, meh. I mean, they're good
just
movies.
like on regular 5 o'clock TV these days or whatever,
I mean, they're good movies, and I can understand what may have caused this fright and terror, because they didn't do that back then.
Right.
I mean, even some of the most things that we take for granted today, like watching Dracula bite someone, they did off screen, or you'd see through shadows.
I was gonna say they were forced to use their imagination a lot more then, and that was probably in some cases more scary than what you could depict on screen. If you let your mind go crazy and free. So who knows?
And another thing I want to touch on, since we're speaking of crossovers, I got it all weaved together today.
Yeah,
It's
you
amazing. I know
You're a
we
pro.
mentioned probably last week about that HBO Max thing and how exciting that
Yeah.
was, but then there was all this backlash that came this week, and
Yeah.
let me tell you, I'm just Godzilla versus Kong is the only thing I'm wanting out of this deal. Okay, I don't care. I mean, I care for. I understand the frustrations.
Right.
In fact, I didn't think about some of the contracts within these deals. It never crossed my mind, because I don't know about that.
Sure, we're not in that industry, and in fact, I would have just assumed that those talks had happened.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and if you didn't hear, what happened is apparently Warner Brothers, or more specifically AT&T, which I'm starting to hear that they had more of a hand in this than Warner Brothers did, or maybe they forced their hand. I don't know all the details, but you hear two sides of it. So if anybody, I would probably lean toward AT&T because they seem to be shittier overall. But anyway,
and for a long period of time.
yeah. But for whoever is responsible, when they made this announcement, none of the filmmakers who were involved with these films knew anything about it. And the reason some of them are pissed is because there are these back-end deals where, say, I think an example that's not necessarily affected here, but to kind of give an example, Gal Gadot, who is Wonder Woman, she gets like a cut of the profits when profits come in after the studio makes, their money back.
So much money, yeah.
So then she gets a percentage of all profits going forward once they reach a certain threshold. That's in her contract. So with the Wonder Woman deal, since that's coming to HBO Max on Christmas, apparently they had already talked to them. They made a deal. She got her $10 million, and she's good.
Okay.
Same with the director. They got their money and they walked away. That's what I'm hearing. The other filmmakers, they were not privy to this. They didn't get these back-end deals, and you have these directors, writers, actors who are who have probably some of these deals in place, and if they go to theaters and HBO Max, then they're going to be shit out of money, because
Because
who
HBO
knows?
is just requiring you to have a subscription with them, but they're not even asking for like a higher tier subscription to watch these brand new movies.
Yeah. So, and like I said last week, I do want to go to the theater, but
I think a lot of us do. Yeah,
I would
it's
love
just,
to.
Yeah.
I just don't want to go right now. I mean, there were
Are
even
they open in a lot of places?
I know some of them are. Some of them are still showing movies. It might not be new movies, but I know that
Trying to
one
do
of our
something.
like our local drive-in, they've been doing anything that's new, and then a couple of older movies because they got 2 screens and they do double features. So
The
they'll
drive-ins would be pretty good because you're staying in your own car.
right.
Yeah.
So that's easy enough. I mean, you're
Mm-hmm.
keeping, I guess, isolated from
Distanced.
everybody. But theaters, I mean, it's
Yeah, that's a rougher one.
yeah. I mean, they can't guarantee anything. Even if they did a deep cleaning after every showing,
Mm-hmm.
you still have to stay spaced. You're still running the risk someone will just come in without a care in the world. I mean, I hear that all the time around here. People have COVID and they're just like, well, I got to go to church. And it's like, but dude, you got COVID.
Yeah.
It's like, nope, I'm sorry. I got to go to church.
Mhm.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just want to see that movie. They
Poor thing.
They did. I don't even know if I talked about this last week. But there was a showing, like I don't know it's not a Comic-Con, but like a big showcase of things in Brazil, I think it is, CCXP or something like that. And apparently
Sorry, I
they
can't help you.
they showed a clip of the movie, and it was like 3 seconds of footage that surfaced online, and all you see is Godzilla swimming and Godzilla or Kong roaring, and it's like, that's it. That's all I get. You sons of bitches, just give me a trailer, please.
Help! The world is against me. Just give it to me.
I mean, how hard would it be? You know when it's coming out. Just put out a
Give us
trailer.
something. Give us
Just-
something.
Because at least that would satisfy something.
Right.
You know, just so I can see it in action, be like, okay, it's coming. I see it. It's
yes.
tangible now. You've been teasing this for
I can sleep
2
better
years.
at night knowing it's on its way.
Yes, I just want to see something, please.
I'm sorry. I wish I could help.
And it's a weird thing to be, I don't know, this frustrated over it. But think about it like this, okay? The last time this movie happened, hypothetically, I mean, not this particular movie, but this matchup was in 1962.
Was it
Okay.
really?
Yeah. 1962, they actually made this happen before studios got way bent out of shape about character rights and stuff like that. I mean, at the time, I was like, Kong, Godzilla together? Sure. Let's do that. Let's money.
Yes, please.
Now it's just like, I don't know. We gotta have all these deals. Who's in control? I don't know. I mean, look at all the Spider-Man nonsense we had to deal with Marvel and Sony.
Right.
But now they found a way to get all these characters together. There's no legal battles that they have to fight or anything like that. It's happening. It's there. They've been trying to do this for God knows how long, and I've been so excited to hopefully see it again. And now it's here, and it's always out of reach. It seems like it's always out of reach, and I just
Well, I just hope
Please.
it's amazing. So when you do get it, it's just like worth all of it.
yeah, you know, because it's kind of like the Cyberpunk thing that we've been talking about. You know, you
Ooh,
make
yeah.
me wait this long. It
We
better
got
be
some
worth
news.
it.
I got
So-
some news this week, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of which, what you been playing?
Well, you hit the nail on the head there. I have been playing quite a lot of Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing it a lot. I'm one of those. I bought it on PC,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure we'll get into a little bit later about the meat of all of this and the stuff that's been surrounding Cyberpunk this week. Although, if you're one that's been seeking out that information, it's probably nothing terribly new to you. But I mean, one reviewer I think said it best. It's a great game with a lot of butts.
Yeah.
So it's like
Like real
not
butts?
like, and that could be a double pun, if you will. But it's like this part of it is so good, but you know, there's always seems to be some sort of little compromise with everything good that's going on with it. So, but I've been playing it a lot. But
But
I've been playing a lot, so obviously, like, the bugs and stuff like that hasn't hindered me or broke my immersion too much. Like, I ran into some more yesterday that it's just like, it's comical, but maybe I just laugh in playing Bethesda games for the last 15 years of my life, you know? So when I see stuff like that, I know it's unacceptable, but, like, I laugh.
yeah.
Because sometimes it's just, how are you gonna get that comedy any other time than when someone's clipping through something? Like my characters, for whatever reason, yesterday I'm driving on my motorcycle and she just all of a sudden does like a T-pose where she just hops up off the motorcycle naked and then sits back down and then she's clothed and everything again. Just this minor like whoop whoop, and I'm like,
right.
oh, okay then, sure. Had to air out a minute, I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
Whatever that was about, you know. So it's just like little things like that the characters clip through stuff or, you know, tiny little graphical errors. But again, I'm on the PC, so we'll get into the meat and potatoes of the PC versus the console wars when it comes to this here a little bit later. But that's pretty much what I've devoted my time to. I'm enjoying the story.
Okay.
So I've probably put in... It probably has to be about 20 hours, no lie, since it came out. Because, like, I was able to play it at 6 p.m. release on December 9th because of the time zones. So I was able to get, you know, December 9th, those few hours in before technically release day, I guess. But,
Nice.
yeah, so... I would say I'm stuck in the side quests. That's what I want to do because that's what I've always had fun with, even in like Yakuza games. They're ridiculously long and the main story is always so good. But my God, the tomfoolery really lies in the side stuff. So go explore and do that because that's where it starts to get real fun. And I think probably where you'll really start to get the depth of your character depending on which backstory you chose to start with. But yeah. I'm enjoying it. I might be in a minority of people, or some of us PC players, we're probably the only ones having a good time with it right now.
Right.
So very thankful I decided to go PC, but it's unacceptable either way. But yeah, that's all I've actually been playing this week. How about you? Because I don't want to say too much because some of it's also in the news and everything like that. But
No, yeah, I understand.
The news portion of the show.
I've finished Ghost of Tsushima.
Nice.
Which we'll probably talk about this a little bit later too about where it stands with our headliner.
Game
but
and everything, yeah.
it was a fantastic game overall, and the way it ended. I want to see more because I don't know what you could do. I'm not saying that they left it so closed that you couldn't do more, but narratively speaking, I don't know where you go from here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
they left the thought open, but you're like, you felt like you closed it up pretty neatly for me. So,
yeah, like
maybe.
it's like if you didn't do another one, I'll be a little disappointed, but I can understand. But your options are well open at this point if you wanted to do a sequel, but I just don't know what that would be right offhand. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
it's
that's
just,
good. Little mystery.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see because it's good. There's going to be a sequel. I
sure.
honestly feel like they're not just going to look at that and be like,
If any game's a success, we could at least expect one.
Sure.
That's how I feel these days.
And it may be years down the road, perfectly fine. You don't have to rush it, anything like that. I don't want to see a rushed game. Not that this was a rushed game by any means. I don't remember seeing any kind of bugs, but it was a solid game, and I would love to explore more of it. Gorgeous, beautiful, God. But I'll talk a little bit more about that later because I know it'll probably come up. So once I ended that, I was like, well, what do I play now? Because I did have a few options. But I opted for Jedi Fallen Order simply because I've been on this Star Wars kick.
There you go.
And
you liking it?
Well,
oh, sorry.
Let me
cut off and thought he was starting there.
Yeah, I'll get into that. So, talking about the Star Wars kick, with the Mandalorians going on right now, they've been introducing older or other established characters from other Star Wars stories, things that I've just passed on. And then I finally said, you know what, I'm going to do it because there's a show called The Clone Wars. There was an animated show. I tried watching at one point and I was just bored out of my mind because I was like, this is... You're not doing anything. You're just pew, 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 boo, boo, pew, 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 pew. And I was like, where's the story?
Right.
Where's the story? So I finally talked to myself as like, I'll burn through them. And because that's what people say. Just get through the first season and it'll pick up. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's a lot
I love
to
that.
ask.
Just you got to put in a couple of years for the payoff. Just come on.
Yeah. So I did. And I may not have paid attention to every little detail early on, but eventually, yes, there were stories that were like, I'm listening, I'm paying attention, and then they just got better and better and better. And then the last 4 episodes that they actually released this year, because there was like a gap where they canceled it and then they brought it back. Those last 4 episodes were phenomenal.
So could we in reality just start on season 3?
2, I'd say at least 2, because it's a slow burn, but it's not as bad as 1, because 1, like I said, it's just war stories pretty much. Okay. It's like, here's a Jedi and here's some clone troopers. Boo, 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 boo,
fancy shiny things. Look.
Yeah, we blew up stuff. Woo! I didn't feel like it contributed anything to an actual story narrative. It was just like, okay, you blew shit up. Great. What are we saying about anything right now?
Yeah.
But then when they start creating these larger narratives, and it may be something that pays off later. So you have like a 3-episode arc, and then you'll come back around to it a little later. And then they would have these long arcs. There were some.
So it's like a soap opera where it just takes forever to get
sometimes
what storyline. It's just like, geez, come on.
But eventually you would have these great story arcs. Some would be 3 episodes, some would be 5, which I was like, wow, this is great. You had something really, and they were usually the good ones. When they would stretch out longer periods, like they were really fleshing out these ideas, they got so much better. So that helped me understand some of the characters that they were introducing in The Mandalorian. That's why I wanted to do it. And then that led me into Rebels, which was a kind of a follow-up series to that. I'm enjoying it, learning more, finding more. So I'm on this kick of Star Wars. So I thought,
there you go.
Since I already have this kind of stuff ingrained in myself right now, all these details, let's go into Fallen Order and see what they do. Well, I start seeing little plot threads. It's like, oh, that's the thing from the that's the thing from the Like there was even a clip.
So
in
you're
there.
Actually enjoying it more now, having had that backstory. Nice.
Like one thing in particular, which I thought was a great callback, if you had seen it, is there was this. Since I'm watching Rebels, there was this device called a holocron, which had a message from Obi-Wan Kenobi in it, and the main character, he opens it up and he listens to the message and he's like, okay, so, this is kind of like a warning to all Jedi or whatever. They hand the main character of Fallen Order, Cal Kestis, that same holocube. It's the exact same message, same voice, everything. I was like, holy shit, that's the thing I just saw. And the other thing. So that was cool. And even the character Cal's master was the race of character he is also a race that they introduced in Rebels. And I was like, holy crap, that's a thing. So again, yes, it did kind of...
a little fan service pays off. Yeah, all right.
So there's these little things that have helped me enjoy that aspect of it. That being said, this is a game riddled with bugs.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my God. So I was trying to, when I first started playing it, I was trying to fill it out. A lot of the controls feel kind of, they're wavy, you know what I mean? Where you just kind of, not slippery, because you remember I was fussing about that in another game, the old 8-bit games where the characters slide and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
He's a little, like if you, in Ghost of Tsushima, if I ran toward a cliff, I get to the cliff, I stop. This guy, he'll keep running. And I'm like, dude, just...
Which I guess is probably a little more realistic. If you're going super fast, you're not... You slide a smidge, I guess.
But still, it's one of
I'm
those.
playing a game in Star Wars. I'm not looking for real.
Yeah.
Just stop.
And it's one of those frustrations where you're trying to be very precise so you have to be precise, because if you move this a wrong way, you're going to fall off this, or if you don't land on that pipe the right way or whatever, you're going to, it's that little frustration is like, damn it, come on, man.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So it's not that bad when it comes to that, but it is just one of those minor frustrations that I don't like. Things I do like, because I was trying to get an idea of what the gameplay actually is, because it feels like a mishmash of a lot of things. Because the first and foremost, I heard Dark Souls combat, and I'm like, ugh. It's not Dark Souls, like brutally difficult to the point where you can't manage it. It can be a little overwhelming at times, but you can't go hack and slash everything. You have to be a little bit more precise. Fair enough. Okay, so if you fight a regular stormtrooper, bam, you can knock a blaster bolt back. If you fight somebody who's got a lightsaber, same as you, you've got to be precise about how you approach him, because he's not just going to go down. He's not going to allow you to sit there and hack and slash him. You've got to block, dodge, swipe. A little bit more, kind of like Ghost of Tsushima. Sometimes you've got to plan your strategy. Fine. Then there were other elements that felt Uncharted-esque, like the exploration where you climbing and swinging and all that stuff. That kind of felt like that. And I had to try and figure out, like, to what degree, like, what game was it that I'd played that felt very similar to this? And I know I've played them. And I guess Metroidvania is the right term here. But even that I feel, when it comes to that term, I think older 2D side-scrolling platformers. So it's a little harder to justify
our
that.
generational divide. It's just like, well, that's what comes to mind.
But in essence of what it is, that's what I think of, because say the planet that you're on, because you can hop from planet to planet, and then those planets are kind of like their own world that you can explore. But in most games like the Metroidvania, you have to have certain skills or abilities to traverse every aspect of the area. So I can traverse certain parts of it, but then there will be other parts out of reach until I get a new ability. And then I can go to that. I can come back later and then get to that thing because I have that new ability. So that aspect of it, I was like, yeah, this is kind of like, I couldn't think of anything. Todd said God of War, like the new one. And I was like,
I think probably a good amount of games probably have that mechanic now where it's like, you've got to learn this thing or buy this thing or get to this part in the story before you know how to do it or something. Yeah.
So, those little elements are fun, and it's kind of making me want to, I guess I like that, because it makes me want to explore, and I already love exploring when it comes to these larger open world type games. But it's not open world in the sense of GTA or something like that. It's just a large planet that you get to explore, but you just have to have the abilities to go to certain areas or just go looking, because you can look around the area and probably miss tons of stuff, little secrets or chests or something like that. So just look around. Anytime I'm looking at my map, I'm like, okay, if this is where it wants me to go, but there looks like there's something over here, I'm going to go over here first. And then, of course, you can unlock shortcuts, so maybe you don't have to go all the way around. Now you can just go through the store, and it takes you back to wherever. So things like that are fun. But bugs, my God, the bugs. Okay? The worst one that I've come across, and I don't know why it only happens on this one planet, the planet Kashyyyk is the worst planet because, for whatever reason, I have those load times. The load times where I'm going through a door and it stops. Like, I freeze. And then you see the little icon in the corner and I'm like, what is going on? And then after about 30 seconds, it's like, okay, now you can play. And it's like, no.
And you're on a pro, right?
Yeah. And it was just, when it started, it didn't happen at first. And I thought maybe I had done something wrong, or maybe the system was acting up. So That's what I was scared, like your system was about to crash or something. Yeah. And it's been having issues. Like when I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, I had this message pop up, almost ironically, like, you know how your phone gets to a point where it's like, oh, I'm dying. It's like, you were just working fine the other day. It's like,
It's
yeah,
just
but,
out of nowhere.
yeah, but the new phone came out. Oh my God, I'm dying. It's like, you son of a bitch. But that's what I was starting to think was happening here, because everything was working fine.
They did like the update, and then now everyone's PlayStation 4s are starting to go, oh, but I'm so tired. I don't know what this new thing is. Please help me.
Yeah. Because I was honestly starting to think that's what was happening, because I got a message while I was playing Ghost of Tsushima saying, database corrupted, restart PlayStation. I'm like, what? So I did it. And then it reloaded everything. It looked like it reinstalled everything, because everything was like out of
not
placed
right
differently.
order,
and I was like, what happened? And I was afraid that I lost my save data. Luckily, not the case. And I was like, because I didn't want to have to start replaying a game. It's just not happening.
Oh God, especially ones that are long and that happens. Like it's so discouraging.
But everything was fine.
Good.
And I was like, okay. And I started looking up. I was like, well, what could have caused that? And it's like, sometimes your hard drive is full. So, just free up some space. So I did. I was looking through some of my larger games, and I said, what am I not playing, or what will I probably not play anytime soon? You're gone. So I was freeing up space. Shit happened again. I was like, oh, come on, man. It happened 3 times. 3 times. Now, everything's clean. I took Ghost of Tsushima off once I was done with it. It's not happened since. But again, this thing...
So it just wants a lot of extra space to run in, eh?
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Because with this game, for whatever reason, it's only when I'm at this planet. I don't know why this particular planet has been the problem. But I'll go running through a door opens up, and it's just like, freeze. And go. And then I'm going again. It's just, it's been frustrating. And then
Do you have to go to that planet? I'd almost avoid it.
No, I had to. There was also a nice little bug, same planet, by the way, where I jumped down into a chasm, crossed the chasm, and then jumped through a door and went falling into the void. And I was like, what the fuck happened?
You just fell through the game world?
Yeah. And I was like,
Nice.
all right. And I tried going back to that area. It was still just a blank void. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to have to restart. And I did. And it disappeared, but it was still just like, what?
Wow.
These little bugs.
Yeah.
So
Damn it.
I want to like the game.
I can understand. That seems to be sentiments going around lately with a few games.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I know we talked about this personally, you and I, but I just don't understand how you can have long production times, crunch periods, and all this stuff, and then your game is riddled with bugs. What are you doing with this time?
It's been a quite confusing situations happening here. So that's probably a good segue into starting the news, I would say. I mean, obviously, most of the news this week was dominated by Cyberpunk and the Game Awards, and this podcast is going to be no different. I've had a couple of tidbits, but let's talk about that Cyberpunk release, shall we? So, yes, as most people have made you aware, we waited 8 years, 2 delays. How did it fare? Well, it really, really, really depends on who you ask here and what platform they are playing on. I purchased the game on GOG for PC, and I have to say my experience seems to be fine. Okay. I'm not saying it's exceeded expectations or all of this kind of stuff. Like, it's fine. It's ran fine. My graphics look okay. So to backstory this, I'm running a regular 1080 and I have an i7 8700K processor. My God, it is a processor hog, though. Okay. I will say I'll shut down absolutely everything on my PC and just let it be dedicated to the game. And a lot of the time, Cyberpunk is wanting 60, 70, 80% CPU. I'm scared it's melting my friggin' rig. Wow. I have all sorts of fans going. So when I say I've sat down for play sessions, I might go 2 or 3 hours and then I let it take a break for like an hour or so because it's just like running so hard. So it's not slouch hardware. I know I don't have top end, but I mean, let's say it's been running fine though.
Sure.
Like graphically, it's been looking all right. I have everything kind of on high. I've turned off some things that just for me I don't like. So it's been faring okay. It's playable. I'm enjoying it for the story. So while it did break records though, pre-orders had 8 million or so before the game even launched, so they made their money back really before the game launched. Broke records on Steam even for concurrent playership of one single game, was well over 1 million at one point people, so it even broke WoW records for like concurrent players. So all in all, statistics wise, looks good on paper, right? But now here's where we get into the meat of it. It depends on who you ask comes in. So for us PC players, we got a patch. You should be on version 1.04, those of you listening, where they address some things like the seizure dangers, which was a big problem. They did have a little warning in the beginning, but then it wasn't really addressed. Apparently there was a games journalist that unfortunately experienced a seizure while playing this game during one of the review copies. There is a sequence for the brain dances where you actually have like looks like goggles, I guess, kind of, that comes around that's on your head. And there is a sequence of flashing lights that happens before you go into said brain dance. Apparently the sequence was lined up perfectly for inducing seizures. But that's apparently been addressed in this patch where they adjusted how the lights flash. Because I've heard a lot with seizures, it's really not necessarily just the flashing lights. It's kind of a sequence, or correct me if I'm wrong. Of course, I don't have them, but to my understanding, it can be a certain pace at which the lights go and everything that actually starts to cause them. So apparently that's been addressed. I don't suffer from them, fortunately for me. So I don't know for sure if that's been changed, but they say it has. So they fixed some quest missions where they were basically unplayable. Like it got bugged to the point where it just wouldn't progress or something would happen. Visuals like cars just randomly popping in and out. I can't say I have seen that. Supposedly that's been fixed. So we're talking like little minor things. So and even like some animations that wouldn't play properly if you were in a cinematic, like with an NPC. Right. You'll hear the voice, the mouth wouldn't be moving, or they're just gesticulating all over the place, but no sound is coming out, so things like that. And improves some stability for those who are having game crashes. And this was just a nice thing that they did. If you're a streamer, they did have it to where they had copyright free songs, like a streamer mode and all this kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I guess some of those still slipped through the cracks. Yeah. So CD Projekt Red did revisit it, which is a nice thing. I don't think that's something they have to do, but readdressed it so that you can stream the game without hopefully getting a copyright strike. But now, if you were on console, you had a much different experience. Much, especially if you're on what we'll now call last-gen consoles like the regular PS4 and Xbox One. Basically unplayable. Wow. Just unplayable from especially on the regular PS4. If you're just base console PS4, it just looked almost like a PS2 game. Because you would get close up to one of the NPCs, and you know how the faces didn't have definition? Right. But the closer you got up to them, it would just take seconds, and you would start to see it eventually load in, and then you'd see their face. So it's like having a really hard time rendering anything in the world in enough time for it to look good. Like you could run straight through and accidentally run into a car, had no idea because it had just popped up randomly somewhere because it hasn't been rendering the world. So, PS4 base console, Xbox One, I would just say don't. Okay. Just don't even buy it. It's just been running that poorly for a lot of people, crashing a lot. The world is nowhere near as populated, so you can see where they tried to take some hits to try to make it run on last-gen hardware. So either it's just super poorly optimized, or just last-gen hardware can't handle it. They just couldn't figure out a way to get it to work the way they wanted to on last-gen hardware. Now, if you're one of the lucky ones that has a PS5 or either of the new Xboxes, it's running. Like, it's playable. The graphics may not be amazing. Your world may not be as overly populated as you would like, especially if you're one of those who really likes to immerse yourself in a world. But it's playable and you can get through it and it looks fine. You may not have all the nice fancy bells and whistles because technically there isn't a PS5 or Xbox, like the new generation console version of the game. Keep that in mind. Like, it may say it's for that, but it's not until like March, I think they said, of next year, where it'll be like official PS5 or Xbox XS versions.
Right.
So, you know, like, I don't even know what to say. It's like you waited all this time, and I'm trying to be understanding that I understand this year through a bunch of different things that people like trying to adjust to a new lifestyle, work style, all this stuff. But there was still like 7 pre-COVID years. So I'm a little confused why it was so bad for the PlayStation. Although now it's starting to make more sense why they were so adamant about people not showing any of their own gameplay before any reviews or anything before the release date.
Look,
which is kind of a crappy way to do things, but I've never seen a company just be like, you can't use your own gameplay, and hardly anybody got review copies, you know?
Yeah.
So now it's kind of making sense.
but you see, what they should have done is if they realized that these consoles could not handle it, then just say, look, we're going to have to shift to next gen. We need more time. PC gamers, since it seems to run just fine, you can get it right now. We're going to release it for PC. It's not like that's unheard of.
No, for sure. Like, I feel like that would have been people would have been pissed either way.
Sure.
There was no way you were going to come out of this not having people pissed. You delayed again, pissed. Did it like this, pissed.
But to mislead the public like that in a way that, oh, we're going to get it on these consoles despite it just not working. That was another issue that I had, that I've had with Fallen Order. It's not been as bad, but that like your clothes or whatever, it'll look fuzzy, and then you give it about 3 seconds and it'll render in the detail, and it's just like, why is this a thing? You know?
Yeah.
Why is this taking so long?
And even PS4 Pro has been struggling a little bit with it, but not as bad. So as some people were saying, like, again, playable, but at what cost? Like, are you enjoying it at this point and all this kind of stuff? So it just seems like, unfortunately, if you're on especially last gen console, you might want to skip this for a few months or just wait till you can get it on. If you can get a next gen console, I don't know. It's a tough one because I know people have been wanting to play it for so long, but it's from the stuff that I've seen on last gen consoles, you're not going to have a good time. And in fact, it's been so bad, Sony apparently agreed. So there's been a lot of people who have been getting refunds, which is kind of harder to get through Sony. But yeah, so I guess the process was a little complicated, especially if you're past the 2-hour playtime on it. So I guess Sony has rules kind of set up along those lines, like it has to be within a certain period of time. But you, I guess, put in for the ticket, and some people were just waiting on hold on whatever phone number that they called for like an hour or so. But once they explained the situation, apparently they got a refund like that. So it's bad enough that even Sony's like, yeah, we'll refund you the game.
Good.
So if that helps you in your decision, if you were still one of those wondering whether you should just pull the trigger and you only have console. So yeah, if you're in that camp, sounds like you go ahead, get a refund and just wait, I guess, until there's an opportunity to present itself for you to play it. But in light of all of that, at least it does sound like the developers of the game will still get their bonuses. So apparently they had some weird structure set up to get their bonuses at CD Projekt Red. So it sounds like the big corporate execs sent out an email to the developers last week saying that they were going to restructure their bonus plan after the executives actually took responsibility for the buggy release of the game, saying in that same email that they will all receive their bonuses no matter if the game is reviewed less than a 90% Metacritic score, which apparently is what it needed to hit. Which seems like a huge feat regardless of a buggy launch. But And I quote from them, it says, "We initially had a bonus system," now this was from one of the people that worked there, "that was focused on the game's ratings and release date. But after consideration, we believe that measure is simply not fair under the circumstances." So I guess taking everything into consideration, probably like kept telling us to go, has to be done by this date. This was from Adam Badowski, who's the studio head and creative director for Cyberpunk 2077. So they underestimated the links and complexity involved to make this a reality, and still you did everything you could to deliver an ambitious and special game. So their bonus system looked like they used to have to get tokens.
Mm-hmm.
So you would get tokens for good work. You did extraordinary work, whatever, here's your token. But those tokens could then in turn be turned into bonuses if the game met like review scores, got critical acclaim, or all these whatever little hoops to jump through. Then you could cash in your token for said bonus. So the concern was this made people crunch, right?
Yeah.
So, so work harder, get tokens, get rewarded. It was just kind of one of those things.
You know what that also kind of shines a light on is why you hear about game reviewers being shit on when they negatively impact a game, and people get pissed because they're just like, how dare you tear this game down? Bah, so many people, we love it no matter how bad it is. It's like, yeah, but if it's a bad game, well, if this is the incentive that I'm not going to get paid unless you give it a solid score, but that's not fair. I mean, you put out garbage, I'm going to tell you it's garbage. That's how it should be.
Well, this is clearly a managerial problem.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you're not able to manage 300 plus people to human working hours. I don't know. But I guess thankfully they did restructure that, so then all of those people who did go through all of this to try to get what we did get out the door can at least be rewarded for their hard work. And just one last little, maybe a nice, in case you missed it, Cyberpunk news. There was a new release trailer that was shown like a few days before the game came out, and had a nice little hidden message in the trailer if you were one so keen to pause and read and get it as quickly as you could. But basically, it was breaking down that DLC for Cyberpunk in the future and everything they plan on doing for free. So kind of like how they did with The Witcher and stuff like that, you know.
So the least they
Olive
could do.
branch?
Yeah.
I don't know. That might have always been in the cards, wanting to do it free, but one nice little thing. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm getting through it. It's playable. Yeah, there's tons of bugs. It really does remind me of a Bethesda game, like the bugs that I'm seeing where they clip through walls or start floating. Or I was in a bar scene and all of a sudden a character just popped in and then slid out. You know, like the feet, arms, nothing was moving, but it slid just right on out of the bar. And I'm like, oh, too much to drink, that one, you know. So like I'm having a blast with some of them, but I get how it could be very immersive breaking. You know, like if you're one who really wants to dive in, role play it hardcore, you know, things like that will definitely break you out of it, but I'm easier to please. But my game's running. So it's very unacceptable that PS4 and Xbox One got such a garbage game.
Oh, yeah.
But moving on from Cyberpunk, there was a couple of other things that happened this week, I swear. and guess what we're going to talk about now? Twitch. Because that loves to come in. But this one actually going to give them an attaboy. I know,
Okay.
right? I know. So Twitch was in the news again. This actually wasn't their fault, but they addressed an outside problem. Earlier last week, I saw some mumblings on Twitter about another site called Bunny Hop, where female Twitch streams were getting embedded into their site, meaning people are watching those streamers on Bunny Hop instead of Twitch. Now, I'm sure you can see where this is going. The website made it sound almost kind of like a porn site. Where it says up at the top, follow your favorite women, categories, and more. So clearly this was causing another problem for female Twitch streamers, where you're getting this riffraff from this site that's constantly harassing him and doing all of this as if they didn't have enough to worry about.
Sure.
So enough people on Twitter and everything threw up a storm once that they saw that this was happening and it was brought to their attention, and Twitch blocked it and took care of it the next day. Legal proceedings could follow in this case, but just remember, if you were one of the ones that were on this site or something like that, you can also enter DMCA if someone is using your content and likeness without your express permission. I don't know what that goes through, and I'm sure I just made that sound like, oh, just remember you could do this. That's not what I mean at all. I'm just saying that there at least hopefully are some things that you could do to try to protect yourself in that case, and thankfully Twitch got it shut down right away, and hopefully the female streamers who were put on there didn't have to go through too much harassment. And they did actually update their policies on Twitch as well, so some of this stuff we're going in to the new year, new harassment policies. They've now put on there lewd or explicit comments about anyone's sexuality or physical appearance is now prohibited. So if you're one of those that want to just keep going on making fun of someone's appearance or any attribute about them, done. And apparently no exceptions for public figures. So if you're popular, if you're a celebrity and you're on Twitch, supposedly. And they just now banned the Confederate flag.
Oh, just now?
Yeah. So there you go. So this goes into effect in January. I guess it gives you some time to redecorate.
Sure.
If you have those in your background.
Better late than never, I suppose.
Yeah. So basically they went through a whole bunch of things, claiming that you're a victim of a tragedy or you're being a crisis actor or encouraging hoaxes or doxes or swatting. All of these things have finally been explicitly laid out. Emotes even are going to have a little bit more of a higher policy. So certain combinations of emotes, how you use their text, in what context, things like that will be under review, given its historic or symbolism that it might be associated with and how you're using it. So it looks like they're trying to get some ducks in a row for exceptions on some of these situations. So January 22nd, these goes into effect. So if you're offending any of these things, get your act together. You've only got a month to be a POS.
Wow.
But wait, there's more.
Woo! Okay.
Tom Tillis decided to bust in this week. Also decided that maybe they should finally discuss copywritten material and its use. Right? I mean, we've been asking for a while that we need some sort of updated laws to reflect today's society. Well, Tom has the answer. You know what he thinks?
What is that?
Let's just make it a felony. Yeah, folks. He would rather you just straight up go to prison for using that music in the background instead of writing a common sense law. Yep. So this time around, one of the measures being crammed into the omnibus is a proposal from Senator Tom Tillis to turn unauthorized commercial streaming of copyrighted material like an album on YouTube or a video clip on Twitch or a song in your Instagram story into a felony offense with a possible prison sentence rather than a misdemeanor. So, of course, when you look at all of his PAC donations, it starts to make sense, but that's content for a different type of podcast, not a gaming one, and I'll leave it at that. So what?
The hell?
Rather you just go straight to prison next to murderers and all of this kind of stuff. What are you in for? I played 3 seconds of Sarah McLachlan's song on my YouTube, so.
I guess, under his law, I'd be going to prison for the rest of my life.
Most content creators would.
Well, I guess I better start checking my
just
orange.
Wipe your stuff. I don't know. Keep an eye on that because, it seems like nothing but evil survives these days. So keep your eye on that. And if they get that through, holy bejesus. Wow. But, and last little Twitch news. If you're the type that uses tags to find your new Twitch streamers, Twitch did do away with the blind playthrough tag, which for most users indicated never having to play a game before. But Twitch has opted for a more inclusive phrasing, which I think is fantastic. So you will be looking for first playthrough now. If you were one of those who like to watch people who had never played the game, I never use tags to peruse content on Twitch, but if you are one of the ones, that's how you can find it now. Seems like they were just wanting to be a little bit more courteous in their phrasing with how they referred to things, and I'm on board with that. So, Nintendo. Nintendo's in the news too. Last little bit of news that I have here. We all know Nintendo tends to be harsh in protecting its intellectual properties. This is not a new thing. You might have actually seen Nintendo trending earlier last week in response to yet another cease and desist order that they put out on the creator of the Etika-themed Joy-Con shells, where they were trying to sell the profits for charity. So if you're not familiar with Etika, he was a huge content creator, huge Nintendo fan on YouTube who unfortunately lost his life to suicide. And in his honor, the creator, who goes by Captain Alex, showed off some new designs and indicated that he wanted to do it without the Joy-Con boys, which I believe was Etika's group that he played with, and the Switch logo references. So that's where I think the issue came in. He set up a fundraising goal to pay for the cost of manufacturing this, and the original goal was set at $5,000. It was put out, that they broke it down. The shells itself cost $35. 30%, though, they wanted to go to the JED Foundation, which is a charity for mental health and suicide prevention. And then the remainder would just go to the production. But unfortunately, Nintendo stepped in, and after all was said and done, Captain did encourage to still donate directly to the charity in Etika's memory. It was just kind of sad to see how Nintendo did it. I just wish in this case it could have been more tactfully. Like, I get it, I guess, from law standpoint or whatever, but I don't know. I just feel like there could have been a much kinder way to go about it in this situation.
You know what would have been a great thing PR wise for this company, despite any intellectual property or whatever they thought,
it matches what I'm thinking, but yeah,
is to sit there and say, we see what you're doing, we understand that there could be a legal issue here, but you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna donate. We're gonna join you because we see what you're trying to do. It's a great cause and we want to help. As opposed to be
what I was thinking.
Jerk about it.
I know the culture's so much different. Like, I get that. But yeah, I was thinking that too. Like, we can't let you go forward with this. But maybe we'll make a $5,000 donation to JED or work something out quieter behind the scenes so it didn't look like that. So,
because it's definitely a
so
black
sad.
eye on as far as I'm concerned, because it makes them look like assholes.
Just the way it went down.
Yeah. Because every time it comes to their games or anything that has to involve Nintendo, Mario, whatever, they're just like, no. It's like, yeah, but dude, wait a second. Look what we're doing.
Right.
No.
I feel like context needs to be taken. I understand they probably weren't going to let them still do it. But yeah, like, I feel like there were so many more tactful, more kind ways that it could have gone about, where it was like, okay, we understand we can't do this thing, but look what you're trying to do. I don't know. But if you are interested, you can make donations directly to the JED Foundation. It sounds like it's for an amazing cause, and definitely sorry that had to go down the way that it did. But I have some quick hits. We'll have a few little lighter notes here before we start diving into those Game Awards stuff. One funny thing I saw. Now, I never played the other ones before, so if this is an Easter egg, you tell me. I don't know. But Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, they just remade those. It lets you give life to your character and take it away. What do I mean? The newly remade game gives you an animation for when you delete a character. So once you have chosen the character you want to delete, you get a fun little animation where the character is struck by lightning and leaves a charred skeleton in its place that eventually crumbles into dust. So I just thought that was kind of fun.
I guess
you can only have so many characters on Tony Hawk, so if you go to delete one, it's just a fun little Easter egg or something there in the new one for you if you like. Let's see. Fortnite added Master Chief. Aren't we happy?
Ooh.
I know this was a Game Awards announcement, but they're also going to add Walking Dead, Daryl and Michonne. That's supposed to drop on the 16th of December.
Now, do you think we will see Todd finally venture into the world of Fortnite because Walking Dead is that?
But it's not a zombie,
But
so
still.
I hope. Okay, well, if he wants to play Daryl or Michonne outside of like a Telltale game or something like that, or that really garbage Walking Dead game that came out a few years back, then sure. Which I almost feel like would be a better way to play Daryl,
Right.
even though it's such a garbage game. Yakuza Remastered Collection and Yakuza 6 are finally coming to PC. By April of next year, thank God. The Remastered Collection contains Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, and supposedly will hit on January 28th and Yakuza 6 by March 25th.
Woo!
I've learned all dates are flexible these days, so with a grain of salt. Ugh. Microsoft is adding a new screen time and game purchasing controls to the Xbox Family Settings app. So once this is in full swing, you parents out there, you can now pause screen time to temporarily block an account, which parents can use as a way to get their child, I don't know, do chores or their homework or whatever in the real world. Or you're going to listen to them complain for 6 hours.
I just want
You
to play
subby!
video games. How
I'm
dare
so
you?
mistreated here. I can't believe it. Yep. So
God.
kids, get your shit done. Are you getting blocked? Or buy a PlayStation? I don't know. There you go.
I don't see that going well, but
No.
go for it. I'm all
Godspeed.
for it. I'm all
Let's
for it.
see it. We'll read those messages in Reddit later. Am I the asshole? And then we'll.
All I did was set some parental screen time for my child, and they yelled at me, called me a terrible human being.
Picture of the house burning in the background. Let's see here. Netflix is making a 3D animated Sonic TV show.
Saw this. Do you
Really?
think? I didn't read a lot into it, but I am curious. Do you
There's
think?
not really a lot to know
No.
right now, but yeah.
But do you think this will be a movie spin-off, or do you think they'll do their own thing?
I mean, the way they're making it sound like a TV show, I think it sounds like they're going to make just like a fully animated one, not like steeped in live action or based off of that. So, I mean, it says right here that they brought in, they are partnering with Sega. And they got someone developing team, Wild Brain, which is a production company for children's shows.
Okay. Well.
So I'm thinking straight up cartoon. But all we really know right now are those things I just mentioned and slated to release in 2022. So we've still got even a ways before we'll even see any fruits of this labor. And this was just a fun mention for me. Maybe you guys, if you followed this game, the developers of Red Candle Games, who made that point-and-click horror game Devotion. I played through it. It's pretty cool. It's been adapted into a series on Netflix.
Oh,
So if that's something you want to see, it's in that same tweet, though, they also kind of slyly announced that they're busy working on their next game. And I don't know what it is, but I kind of enjoyed the way that they laid out Devotion. So now, hey, I'm following them. I want to hear updates. But yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I clicked on it and looked through the trailer and all this kind of stuff. It looks kind of fun. Looks kind of good. So if they were pumping it out and advertising it, must be pretty close to source material. So there you go. If you're wanting something to watch on Netflix, there you go. And one of the last quick hits I have, Disco Elysium is getting more story and characters, which was awesome for me. I loved that game. Now we're getting more of it. Fully voice acted, the whole 9, and it's free.
Woo!
It's going to be called The Final Cut, and it's coming in March of 2021.
Nice.
So, yay. That was a great game.
That's what I heard.
I really need to do another playthrough of it. There's so much. There's so much.
I do want to check it out.
It's great. It's great. Maybe I'll have to work something out.
Okay.
Talk after. I lied. I had one last quick hit, but it was kind of a throwback to one of our Truth or Trashes, which we got confirmation on, was with The Wolf Among Us 2. Clearly, there was no announcement at the Game Awards about it, but they did put out something actually a little before. And so they were, thank you for your excitement for the game. We've been hard at work trying to, revive a lot of Telltale's amazing games and even putting out new ones for it. But they're just basically saying, hang tight. There will be a lot to talk about, just not yet. So stay safe. Love you guys, which is fine.
Fair enough.
There you go. One little bit of weird news. This is another one that Steven threw to me. Did we talk about this last week?
I don't know.
The scalpers?
Scalpers.
The trucks?
No. I don't think we did.
No. I had this like deja vu moment. Maybe it was because I had a quick thing in my head of me just remembering writing the piece. And then have you ever had that moment where you're like, have we done this? Wait a minute. Okay. So I had to ask, like, wait a minute.
I don't think we did.
Brains are weird, I tell you. So, you know, the scalpers have been hard at work.
Mm-hmm.
They always are, right? You know, especially right now, they're wanting all that hardware. If you want a piece of electronics to make it bigger, better, faster, you know, you're just going to have to wait or pay stupid amounts of money for it. Well, scalpers have taken it to a whole other level, you see. The weekend, let's see, some people had a bad time of the delivery truck drivers who were driving goods.
Mm-hmm.
In these trucks would have electronics, you see. Electronics like PlayStations, TVs, and more. But now we've taken it to a whole other level, people. You see, as these trucks are driving down the street just trying to do their job, apparently there are now gangs of people using multiple vehicles to box said truck in, climb onto the truck going at 50 miles per hour, and use cutting tools to break into the truck and steal the goods whilst in transit. And guess what? This is at least the 27th time this year for a high-speed jacking of goods. Kind of sounds like it would be an inside job if they're like all about their roots.
Right?
I don't like, that's just the first thing that popped into my head. But like looking at a picture of one of them, holy crap, it was like 3 or 4 vehicles like pinned in the truck on like the left-hand lane on a highway.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, friggin' jumping out of the car, stealing it. What the crap is wrong with you people?
And
what?
The amount of stunt work that you'd have to do to even achieve this.
Like, I even saw that they read in there like they had the whole thing planned out. Like there was like a rope that attached the one guy to. So I guess if he fell or something, we could at least still collect the body. I don't know. I feel like he'd still hit the ground, but at least he's not left on the street, I guess.
Sure.
But holy crap, who would have thought you'd need to start making like a decoy vehicle now just to deliver goods to department stores?
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. But here we are.
So I guess still congratulations to Sony for its biggest launch of a console ever.
Yeah.
I don't think people are playing them yet.
No,
but,
God, no, because there's like 4,000 of them.
sitting in warehouses waiting to be sold on eBay.
Yeah. Hey.
Oh, dear.
I've got a weird news.
Do tell.
It depends on who you are. I guess I'm putting it in a weird news section simply because what the hell were you thinking? You know, what the hell were you thinking? I don't know if you heard about this, but Monster Hunter has been out in theaters overseas. It actually got moved up over here to December 18th. So Friday.
Oh, okay.
If you're looking forward to that. I don't know if it's going to be premium on demand, so I can't speak to that.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
But all I know is that theaters December 18th. If it is premium on demand, I may rent it. We'll see. But did you hear about the dialogue that they had to remove from the movie?
I didn't. Ew, what's up?
So, apparently the movie has been pulled from Chinese theaters.
Okay.
Because of one bit of dialogue. Because they are pissed about this one bit of dialogue.
Did we say Winnie the Pooh somewhere?
No, I'm really surprised that's not what it is.
Okay.
But now I have no skin in this, okay?
Sure.
Do not hate me for repeating this. I'm relaying the message. If you laugh,
that's on you.
That's on you. I said it to my wife. She laughed. And I was like,
well, now I'm scared.
Okay. So apparently 2 of these soldiers are talking in a vehicle, and one is I'm assuming here. I haven't seen the clip. I haven't seen the movie. One is white. One is Asian.
Okay.
Of what descent? Asian? I don't know.
Right.
But that's all I'm going to say. That's all I know. The Asian guy is sitting there just rubbing his knees, and he's like, "Gosh, my knees are hurting." It's like, "Oh, it's so tough." And the other guy's like, "So what?" I don't remember what he said, but the other guy says, "You know what kind of knees these are?" He's like, "What kind of knees?" He goes, "These are Chinese."
Oh, dear.
And now it was an Asian person that said that.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is supposed to be, your get out of jail free.
Yes. Yeah. And that's kind of how I took it. So, but of course, it's an offensive pun, and
Okay, who was offended though? That's always my first question.
Whoever-
Was it Chinese people
Chinese
or everyone
people.
else being offended for them?
Chinese people. That's
Oh, okay.
like
Well,
China
I can't
removed it
speak
from
to that.
theaters. They said, "Nope, you're done." So they removed the line, and
Okay.
then I guess Chinese theaters said, "Nope, we're just taking the movie out completely. It's done. We're not showing it anymore." That's, to my knowledge, that's what they've done. Now, here's the
Wow.
thing. Obviously, the apology tour happened, where it's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." It was like, first of all, you filmed it, you put it in the movie.
You
What-
thought it was going to be fine. I mean, I would imagine, or that you would just get away with it.
Furthermore, the fact that Tencent is a production company of this, how did they not go?
Well, I don't know how involved they are with the script.
But you'd think somebody there who would have.
I don't understand these large corporations anymore, man. It seems like there's really no oversight on anything.
I don't know either. But that was the joke.
Wow.
If you laughed, that's your thing. I mean,
I guess I don't understand how it would be offensive, which is why I'll just keep my mouth shut. Either I'm not understanding the joke,
yeah.
or I just don't think it was that funny. of a
Either way,
pun.
I
don't
looked
know.
at it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, huh. I mean,
Like, it felt like it's reaching for a joke there to play on words.
Yeah.
And yeah.
but I'm explain it to me, because I've learned so much about certain things in racist culture that maybe I
Yeah.
didn't find offensive, but then I realized what could make it offensive. Then I was like, oh, okay.
I'm always up for learning that sort of thing, because really in my brain right now, I can't think of why.
Yeah.
But I don't come from that background, so I don't
Like you
I don't
said,
want to speak on it because I don't know.
but like you said, it seems like a joke reaching for a pun just to say
On words.
Chinese.
Knees.
My knees
Chai.
are
Knees.
Chinese. I'm not. I'm
Yeah,
just.
see, I don't.
I don't get it.
It's like I get the wordplay, but I don't get what the wordplay might be trying to insinuate.
Right.
Or maybe that was just all there was to it, and I'm trying to overthink it.
Yeah.
Trying to make a joke. I don't know.
I don't know either.
All
But
right. Well,
there you go. If whenever you see the movie, that will not be in it, to my knowledge. I don't think they're
well,
gonna.
it might be in the States, yeah, or no?
No,
No, you think they'll just take it out
because
altogether?
you might as well just
At
don't
this point,
don't
yeah,
even
just
do it,
cut it.
because you get over
Yeah.
here and you'll get all the Karens in the world.
There's different ones, yeah.
Offensive.
I think
for
that's
other
always
people.
just what annoyed me. It was like it's always the people who aren't in the minority group that want to get offended for the minority group, and I'm like, I want to wait. And like, are the ones who are supposed to be pissed first?
Yeah, no,
Because like I'm not trying to get clout from like looking like, it's like, do I have a right?
But
to
if
that? I don't know.
you don't,
But I could be just saying all ignorant stuff right now because I really don't get how the joke was bad.
right. But I mean, I'm
other
with
than
you
it
on
just being
that.
Bad.
But I'm with you on that. It's not like a sense to be ignorant. It's not a sense to jump on a bandwagon. It's I don't have any skin in the game, therefore I'm not offended.
Mm-hmm.
I will help. I'll defend whoever is if
Yeah.
you tell me why you're offended, and I can
want to
understand
understand
it.
what it is. And
Yeah.
it's probably more on me. I should just research. I shouldn't just go ask them and make their burden to teach me anything.
no,
so I guess
no.
I should look that up and see, actually,
But it's
how it could be.
but if you're not the one, if you're not the directed party to be offended, then it's not my
Yeah.
place to feign outrage for this thing
Right.
that
Yeah, that was my point.
that I have no skin in. So the way I look at it, it's just if you're offended and you have a good excuse, then I'll support you on that endeavor 100%.
I'll go educate myself on why that is, and
I'll
hold
support it.
accountability.
But I have to know why. I'm not going to do it for you because I don't know why I'm offended, because I'm
Right.
not.
Right.
But I will support it.
right.
Okay? I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
I just got to know what I'm doing.
Right. So I guess we need to look it up and
Yeah.
see how it could be, because there's probably a reason why.
Probably is.
And it's probably embedded in a culture thing that we just don't know because we're not in it. We don't live it,
Sure.
So,
So if there's anybody listening who can explain it, by all means,
Sure,
educate us.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
all for it.
Now I'm curious. I think once we're done, I might actually look it up, see what I can suss out.
Yeah.
But Game Awards obviously happened this week. There was I figured before we get into the headliner, we can discuss some of the actual games that were announced. Of course, there was a lot of pomp and circumstance, and I think it went off very well. He did. We were looking at some stats. About 1.9 million people were watching on Twitch, with an additional 1.2 on YouTube. So it definitely got a lot of eyes. It went off really well. I even saw some backstage pictures of just how they set up all the sound stages and everything. Looked very safe, very well done. So well done on that. Well done on that. I feel like the show did go off very well. But we're here to talk about the games, right? And so there was a few that stuck out. Obviously, we're not going to be able to talk about every single thing in great detail or we'd be here all day. And I know it's our last one and you'll miss us and all, but I'm pretty sure, you even have a limit, right? But of course, the first one I'm going to mention, right? Evil Dead game.
Yeah, that's right,
That is all.
Okay.
I mean, we know. We all. Anybody who knows me probably saw that and went lace.
I did.
Yeah, I know. You're not the only one, and I'm very thankful for every one of you who reached out. You're amazing people. I did. I had so many DMs, and it made me smile. I'm like, oh, so many people think of me when it's Bruce, and that's exactly how I want it.
So, maybe because I only watched the trailer. You may have done a deep dive in researching this game. What is the game?
It kind of looks like a DVD version
That's
of
what I
Evil
thought
Dead.
Too.
Because a lot of the rumblings I heard most of the year was people saying they were going to do a VR game. So that's what I thought we were going to hear announced, because there was a lot of mumblings about Evil Dead VR. Nothing concrete. Could have just been rumors getting spread around. And Bruce does like to troll us quite often on Twitter, to play into a thing, but not quite say one way or the other. So yeah, I probably would have gotten it either way because we all know me, right? Right?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Good game, bad game, doesn't matter. I even own the PlayStation 2 Evil Dead games, all right? So once they showed the gameplay, that's when I was like, all right, this does look like a good time. It does look like we're going to get deep story. It's going to be kicking ass Deadites with cool one-liners with Bruce Campbell and some of the cast from it looked like Ash versus Evil Dead and I'm here for it, and it looks like a lot of fun. But yeah, it looked like it was you choose your character, kind of go after the Deadites kind of game, and I'm here for it.
They seemed like they were tapping into every movie because Ash looked like Ash from Evil Dead 2. They had what was her name from Ash versus Evil Dead? I can't remember.
Yeah, see, no, that's why her name has escaped me. The brunette, real petite.
Yeah.
If only there was a machine in front of me.
Well, all right. So while you're doing that, they had the knight.
God, I can't believe I can never remember names.
From Army of Darkness, the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in there, and then I don't remember who the other woman was. I think she was the.
She's Kelly in the show, Dana
Kelly.
De Lorenzo.
Kelly, that's right.
Dana De Lorenzo.
And then the other woman, she looked like. I feel like she was from Evil Dead 2 as well.
Like the girlfriend. And then I even saw the dude from the first one, I think, from the very first movie.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When he came out of there. I know this is really bad. I know I'm a fan of the movies and everything, but you've got to also know my brain is crap. So I remember everyone's faces and all this stuff, and I always forget names. Maybe it's.
Hey, don't feel bad.
Maybe
I was watching a Godzilla movie with my father yesterday, and I have seen that movie I don't know how many times, and yet I was sitting there watching the scene going, why don't I remember this?
Right, enough time sometimes passes. But I think maybe Scott. I think Scott was the name of the character. Anyway, one of the friends who turned into a Deadite. So it looked like, yeah, you're right, a nice mishmash of all of the different parts of the series that's been put out so far, and I don't know, it looks like a lot of fun. And I'm here for it. So I can't wait to see what comes of that. So we're gonna have to play, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, we're gonna play.
Duh.
So you were talking about Evil Dead VR. Apparently I've not heard about that, but just I've got one idea. If they do this, okay, one thing I want, I don't care if it's just one little thing you can do, and that's just some little side thing to whatever this game may or may not be. I just want one little section where you can be that deadite and just
Through the woods.
and that's all you do until you catch somebody, and then that's it. It could
That
be
would be awesome. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure, and you can correct me again if I'm wrong, that's like a Sam Raimi special.
Yeah.
Like, he's the one who really, that style, like, really popularized it, put it out there. And I've seen it used a lot since. But that's kind of a quintessential Sam Raimi move. You know, like, when I see that style of shot, he's the first person I think of. And I read the books and stuff, so like just even knowing how they created these shots with what they were able to create in 1980, 1981, it's just amazing. They worked harder for their films, people, than they do these days, that's for sure. But moving on before this becomes like Evil Dead last half hour, Dragon Age 4 got another trailer. So I guess I should be comforted that stuff is still happening there. I don't know. Still no gameplay that I could tell, but I'm keeping my eye on it. You know, I've been a Dragon Age fan. I just hope it gets finished and it's good. The new game, though, it shows that it's picking up right where the 2014 Dragon Age Inquisition left off, with the reveal that the player companion, and generally he was kind of rude, but Solus is in fact the elven god of betrayal. So looks like we're gonna have a little bit more for them going on, and also known as the Dread Wolf. Yeah. So actively working to destroy the world. So the new title, I'm thinking maybe we'll see them face off with that Dread Wolf as they work to preserve Thetis. We'll see. I don't know. I'm ready though. I want it to keep going. So I'm assuming this will be a game that's out in like 7 years. I don't know. New Smash Brothers Ultimate character was announced. Sephiroth as the third fighter in the Fighter's Pass Volume 2. You're getting 6 characters in total, so we've got 3. So the full set is expected to be completely out by December 31st. So if you're in on that, you got a new character. We've already seen the ARMS one and all those that have come out. So.
Yeah.
And of course, Mass Effect. Albeit was vague. It just promised Mass Effect will continue. So there you go.
like good.
Yeah, I was just like, sure, you told us that already a little bit, but all right, you know, I guess it's good to have a video form of it.
Sure.
This is still one of the series I wish I would have played when it was coming up, and then I know it's not too late, but it kind of is. Knowing me.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead creators Turtle Rock showed us Back for Blood. It looks like more Left 4 Dead, and I'm okay with that, strangely enough. I liked the Left 4 Dead games. They were tomfoolery. It was fun. It really just looks like more of that.
Sure.
But what can you tell, again, from a cinematic trailer? But then I went and watched the gameplay trailer. Yeah, it's definitely more Left 4 Dead, so I'm here for it. We'll see. Keep your eye on that. So this one, like, it took me a minute as I was watching the trailer to like understand what was going on, and not even sure I cared, but Arc 2
Yeah.
with Vin Diesel, eh? Like,
Sure.
I don't really know what more to say about it. Like, I'm watching it, I see him, and I'm like, okay, still not really sure what the game is or anything, but
Hey,
sure.
they had Vin Diesel. They didn't need to show you anything else. It's like, hey, Vin Diesel.
So there you go, I guess, is gonna sell more Arc 2.
Sure. Look what
So there you go. You got Vin Diesel.
look what Keanu Reeves did for Cyberpunk.
I'm telling you.
Vin Diesel.
I'm telling you.
They're just like,
It's
hey,
fun in that game, though, I have to say.
Vin Diesel.
Look, we can get actors too. Look. I mean, he was in the Fast and Furious game.
Yeah, that's
Look
true.
at him taking over games this year. I don't know.
Someone asks, what's the game about? Who cares? Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel.
Okay.
With no shirt on.
Okay. So they're
And of course those toads for his, I don't know, he's creepy, but we won't go off on my thoughts on Vin Diesel. That's not a selling point for me. Let's put it that way.
and what's the plot? Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel
Okay.
and with dinosaurs.
So Vin Diesel. Arc 2.
Maybe it's Fast and Furious Dinosaur Edition.
No.
I don't know.
That's the subtitle. Arc 2. Vin Diesel's in it.
That's the whole trailer.
Yep.
Just him. Thanks. ride off on a dinosaur, fly off. I don't know. Oh God, the parodies.
Yep.
I hope you guys take it and run with it. I'll watch it because that could be hilarious. But It Takes Two was a EA original one that they showed off that I admit actually looked kind of cute. They're like into those their indie portions, but into those couch co-op kind of things. Because same studio that did
A Way Out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It looked cute. It looked like it would be fun. A little humor spread in there. Not much more to say about it than that. I thought the art style looked cute. The graphics looked good. I don't know if it's one I'll pick up. Maybe like a sale. Convince the hubs to actually play. Road 96 though looks up my alley. That definitely looks like one for me. It's like I'm a sucker for that create your own story kind of procedural type narrative design game. So that one looks like a lot of fun too, like a road trip, a procedurally generated road trip leaving a country in turmoil. So for me, yeah, cool. I'm all about it. I'll play it. Evil West, Red Dead with zombies.
Sure.
I don't know. It actually looked kind of cool. It didn't look like anything brand new of an idea, but if you're into those types of games, it looked like it could be a lot of fun. But the last one that just to mention for me, anyway, out of the highlights of the game announcements, there was a musical performance from a pop group that I had never heard of before. It was called OFK. And they sang a song called Follow, Unfollow. Why at the Game Awards? Well, it actually was a reveal for an interactive series that they're going to do titled We Are OFK. That's to be out next year. So from what I could find out, it's more like a docu-series where they tell the story of the creative process of music making. And as they put it, quote, all the shit along the way. So we'll see what comes out of that announcement. To me, it looks like it might be just one of those like where you get an episode and play through whatever little narrative or whatever they'll put together there. So
Gotcha.
We'll see how in depth later on. But again, I tend to enjoy those types of things. I don't know who this is. I don't know if I'll care for the story or whatever they've put together, but I'll keep my eye on it, you know? So, did you see any standout games that I didn't mention that
I'm gonna be
I
honest
feel like
with
I'm
you.
forgetting one?
I'm gonna be honest with you. Disney did this thing the very same night, and that's where all my attention went because they were announcing, "Look at all the new Star Wars shows we have. Look at all the new Marvel movies we have. Look at all the new Marvel TV shows we have."
Distracted.
And I was like, "What is going on?"
So much stuff at one
And
time.
they're just like Game Award. I was like, no.
Hold on.
Yeah.
This shiny.
This is the
shiny
thing.
for now.
Because you know how long it's been since I've had a Marvel movie? Do you know how long it's been since we have had
Maybe
a
at least
new
9 months?
Marvel movie?
When
No,
did
it's
one come
been
out?
over a year.
I was trying to think when the last one came out in theaters. Yeah.
Over a year.
Yeah.
Okay, last one was that Spider-Man Far From Home, and they left this huge big cliffhanger.
Oh, yeah. Well, they were trying to get that filmed,
I know.
And it's
Hey,
just
you know
this
what?
little stupid pandemic.
There are 2 movies in the can right now that they could have released. But, not going to say anything. Just saying, you got Black Widow, and you got an Eternals movie. You're just sitting on them, and you ain't releasing them to nobody because you think they got to go to theaters.
They are good at holding on to stuff and doing these releases, though. My God, the amount of times they keep repackaging like their old Disney animations and then comes out once every 10 years. They know how to work it, man.
But I will say this, despite not knowing when we'll actually get to see Black Widow, I do have it on good authority that starting January and then for at least the next 5 months, there's going to be content galore
Oh, yeah.
for Marvel
yeah.
because WandaVision comes out in January,
Yes.
which I am so excited for.
I am too.
Like, even the new trailer they put out made me even more excited because it was like, this is
Ooh, I might
just
have to go watch. I may not have seen the new one.
because it's just like it's so bizarre, but just in all the right ways. Like, I want to know what is going on, and I love everything I'm seeing. So you've got that coming in January. Then 2 months later in March, we have The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Finally got a trailer, and then 2 months after that, we get Loki in May.
Oh
And I'm excited about it all.
There we go.
And hopefully,
maybe 2021 will be a better year.
It's looking like it, because at least
hopefully
within that 5-month period, hopefully Black Widow will be placed where she needs to be, so we can finally see that. And then at the end of that month, we're supposed to have Kong versus Godzilla, or Godzilla, whatever the fuck they're calling it.
whichever way.
I don't care. I just want to see the movie.
I just want to see it.
I just want to see it, and hopefully it'll happen. But yeah, no, I didn't. I watched, like, if there was a trailer that came on YouTube and something about the game caught my eye, I would watch it. Like,
sure,
what is it? This? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
But no, that Disney took my attention. The sons of bitches.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Oh, I think I did a pretty good collection of the ones to talk about anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I may be biased, of course,
But
towards choosing the ones I liked, but
But I mean,
that's a pretty good overview.
the ones that you mentioned, I do remember seeing, and I did watch some of those. So yeah, you probably did. There was nothing else that stood out to me in a way that I was just like, oh my God, why didn't you talk about this one?
Yeah,
Because
there were some other neat ones, but nothing that really stood out to me. But definitely you can, of course, always go back online onto YouTube and check out which announcements were made and watch them in nice little tiny chunks if you like, and watch it a few minutes at a time. But that was just a few of the games to highlight that were announced from the Game Awards, and some fun ones to look forward to, of course. Now, how did we do with our predictions?
I don't know, because we have a list here now. Do you still have your list of our
right
choices?
here.
Okay, so I'm
Yes.
gonna go through, and
I almost was going to ask you if you wanted it ahead of time, but I wasn't sure because I was like, I don't know. He writes everything down. I probably should have.
so
But I do have it.
Good. So I'm gonna name the game winner, and then you are going to tell us what we chose, or should we do it let's do it that way. You tell us who we chose, and then I'll say who the winner is.
All right.
Okay,
So
do we want to
we'll
start?
put Game of the Year last. So I should probably
Game of the
scroll
Year last.
down
All right,
here.
so you tell me where you started, and that's where we'll go.
So if we're going in my mind, less important up, the first one that I have is for Content Creator of the Year.
Content Creator of the Year.
Since we skipped esports stuff and stuff, because I don't think you and I would know anyway.
Yeah, no, I think I took that off.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's like you can tell me these teams. I probably don't know who they are anyway or what they play.
All right, so Content Creator of the Year.
So the people that were up for it, we had Alana Pierce, J.Ann Lopez, Nick Merckx, Tim the Tatman, and Valkyrie.
Okay.
Now, Steven, you had chosen Valkyrie.
Okay.
And I went with Tim the Tatman.
Mm-hmm. The winner was Valkyrie. I got 1 point.
He's already up here.
You know what? I'm gonna...
Not that we were keeping scores, but I guess we are now.
We are now.
We are now.
Because I got a point.
Lace big old goose egg to start. There we go.
So I don't know.
And I'm pretty sure I just chose Tim the Tatman because I had seen him before.
Yeah, I chose her because why not? I've heard her name.
Exactly. And so congratulations to Valkyrie.
All right. So
I
what
don't know
else?
what this brings to you. Best debut game.
All right. Okay.
I believe we had Carrion up,
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Shell, Raji, and Ancient Epic.
Uh-huh.
Roki, if I even am saying that correct, because I know it has little dots above the eye, and I'm sure that there's whatever.
I didn't put dots.
And Phasmophobia.
Mm-hmm.
Those were in our characters now. Now, Steven chose Phasmophobia.
Word.
I chose Carrion.
Okay. Carrion is still one of those games I want to play.
Yes.
But Phasmophobia won. Oh my God, I got two.
It did, yeah. And who knows? I probably was just like, I'm going to be abstinent and say something else. We got 2-0. 2-0.
I don't even know how I'm doing this. This is just insane.
I know, right? I think you're just becoming too pro now.
Yep.
That's the thing.
I'm
We've
gonna
been at
have
it
to-
for so long.
I'm going to have to get one of those gamer attitudes where I'm better than everybody.
You just gotta, have you put in this many hours into a gaming podcast? I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Nope. All right, anyway.
Have you put in at least 300? Anyway, our next game category was Best Fighting. Best fighting game.
Well, yeah.
Which,
okay.
Yeah. Which we might have already done this one. So we had Grand Blue Fantasy Versus,
Mm-hmm.
Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate, Street Fighter 5 Champion Edition, One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows,
Aw.
and Under Night in Birth EXE late CL-R. I'm sure there's some fun way you're supposed to say that, but I don't know the lingo.
Late Colonel. Anyway, best fighting game. Oh, who did you choose?
We both went with Mortal Kombat 11.
Because obviously it was the winner.
It was the winner. So I just had to ride your coattails and get a point there.
Well, I mean,
So I'm sure that's probably what I did.
Do you-
Or it was because I knew of Mortal Kombat.
right. Because, I mean, do you remember any of those other games? No.
I don't, but that's not usually my go-to genre, to be fair.
Fair enough.
But I knew it. I knew you played it more, so I felt like that gave a healthy balance. Sure. So the best action and adventure game.
Action, adventure. All right, we got it. Got it.
So I kept myself in the dark on a lot of these too, just so we could have this fun right here, the excitement. We had Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Ghost of Tsushima, Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Star Wars. I don't know where I was going with
Star
that.
Wars. No, that's
Star
how we're saying
Wars?
it. No, that's how we're saying it from now on.
From
Star
here
Wars.
on out. You're too hard. It is Star Wars. And, of course, The Last of Us 2. Now, you had chosen Ghost of Tsushima. And I had went with Assassin's Creed Valhalla due to all of the hype.
Well, we're both wrong because The Last of Us Part 2 won that.
Cleaned up, probably, eh?
Probably. Yeah.
0 and a 0.
I'm gonna have
we might have been trying to give new love too at that point. Who knows?
But I'm gonna say I completely disagree. Because look, it's a great game, but I felt like a lot of the action adventure I had was in Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion.
I hadn't played any of them. I knew this was The Last of Us 2, but I figured you had played the most out of that.
All right.
Yeah, it had gotten a little bit of maybe we could save that for later. I don't know. A little controversy, I think, for winning a bunch of stuff. I don't know. Let's see here. Best action game.
All right.
Best action. We had Doom Eternal up for a nom, Hades, Half-Life Alyx, Neo 2, and Streets of Rage 4. Now, Steven went with Hades.
Okay.
I decided to throw in the ring for Half-Life Alyx.
Winner is Hades. Hades. Because that's what the gamers were all talking about, I guess. But they were hyped for that Half-Life for a day.
Yeah.
And then
And then, the very few people who had VR systems.
The actual VR system they needed.
Right. I mean, you could play it on any of them.
But if you didn't have the Steam,
that's true.
You're not going to get the best
The finger controls would just be all out of whack.
All right, what else we got?
Oh, who won? Hades?
Hades.
Oh, okay. I thought we were just having the conversation like you were doing this huge build-up.
I'll do that next time. I'm sorry.
You're kicking my butt, Steven.
I'm sorry.
I suck at this. All right. Best VR game.
Okay.
Let's see if I could have done it for this one. I doubt it, though, because I'm looking at my answer now. What we had up was Dreams, Half-Life Alyx, Marvel's Iron Man, Star Wars Squadrons, and The Walking Dead.
No. Star Wars Squadron.
Star Wars. I already forgot my new rule here. Star Wars Squadrons. And should I be like The Hawking Dead now too? The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners. So Steven went with Iron Man. I went with Star Wars Squadrons.
Well, we were both wrong.
Oh, crap.
It was that gosh.
Dang it.
I was trying to smash it together. We can't talk tonight.
We can't do it.
Half-Life Alyx was the winner.
I should have known on the VR category itself. It should have clicked.
Yeah, I mean,
everyone was talking about the Star Wars that week, probably, so it was in my head.
I thought the Iron Man was pretty cool, but I didn't play the Half-Life Alyxes. So
it's just like the cool way to spell it.
Yeah.
You could ask Tiana Studio. I believe that's how they spelled Alex there too. It was with a Y. Alex with a Y.
That's right. Alex with a Y.
When am I going to get to play it, Darren? Just saying.
E's are stupid.
I'm going to start yelling at him. He's not even listening to the podcast. When do I get to play Dark Side of the Moon? Anyway. The next category was Best Indie.
Indeed.
We had Carrion on there. We had Fall Guys. We had Hades, Spelunky 2, and Spiritfarer. Now, Steven actually went with Fall Guys on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Hades. Did either of us get a point?
You get a point,
Woo!
and you get a point, and I get nothing because Hades was the winner. I really thought Fall Guys, because it was such a phenomenon.
It really was, man. It really was. Just goes to show we don't think like the judges, I guess.
I guess not. But I
don't
really
know,
thought
man.
it was going to be. I haven't looked. I jotted these down. It may have won something. I don't think it did, but it's just you would have thought that something that would just took over and became this huge phenomenon for 2020. One of the more positive lights of the year.
Yeah. Right?
And
I know. Such good, wholesome fun.
yeah.
Kind of, until people were hacking it.
Oh yeah.
So it's got to ruin everything.
And it had Godzilla in it. Woo. At least for
I
me.
mean, the
know
beans
that,
are cute.
That doesn't say anything for everybody, but I didn't get it. I didn't get to play it. I should have played it.
Well, I was going to say it was free on PlayStation, right?
know.
Or with the PS Plus
I mean,
or something.
I have it. I've
Yeah,
just not
just
downloaded it
haven't
and played
played
it.
That's fair. That's fair. We've all got backlogs.
Mhm.
All right, let's see. What do we got? We got 3 left.
Okay.
3 categories left that I took a tally on. So, best performance.
Mm.
All right, so we had Ashley Johnson as Ellie,
Mm-hmm.
Laura Bailey as Abby,
Mm-hmm.
Daisuke Tsuji as Jin Sakai of Ghost of Tsushima. I think I said that pretty close. Logan Cunningham as Hades, and Naji Jeter as Miles Morales. Now, Steven went with Laura Bailey,
I did.
and then I went with Ashley Johnson.
Both solid choices, and I honestly feel like, for all the reasons I said, is why Laura Bailey won. Because
nice.
she had to convince you to like this character. And she is, even by the end, you're just like, I just don't want to like you, but I sympathize with you too.
You
son
see
of a
the
bitch.
human in there, and you can relate to that aspect, and that can be hard to do, and that's great.
Yeah, so Laura Bailey, well deserved, because
Good
she
for her.
just she makes a character you hate and love all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's
Was she
amazing.
the one who was also like getting the horrible messages or whatever
Yeah.
from the game? So good for her, even better.
Yeah, even better.
You know, like, you got to think of it. If she can evoke that, then she's a good actor. But maybe use your brain and realize it's acting. I
Yeah,
don't know. For
exactly.
future. Just a thought.
A thought.
I don't know. Well, good for her. Good for her. Let's see. Best narrative.
Okay.
So they had 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, the Final Fantasy remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, and The Last of Us 2, which you and I had both chosen The Last of Us 2.
And we would both be correct because
We would both get a point.
because as I've said before, this was a game that would have been, at least I thought, was impossible to create a sequel to, and somehow they did it and they pulled it off.
Yeah.
Despite whether or not you liked it or didn't like it, I thought it was a smart way to go in a way that just made you go, I don't know, made you think.
Yeah. No, I think they did well. Hopefully we're done.
Yeah.
Let it go out on top. But of course, now the game of the year.
Game over.
Obviously, the most anticipated game award for the last, I don't know, however long it's been around. So, the noms were Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy Remake, of course, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. Now, Steven went with Ghost of Tsushima. I went with Hades. Game Awards went with...
The Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because it has to win everything. And look, I'm not saying it doesn't deserve it.
Right.
I know I just said that it was a great game a moment ago.
Just going right back at it.
It's just, I guess it's a hard toss up. Look, Animal Crossing, we've done that. Doom, we've done that. I don't know enough about Hades, but I've heard good things. Ghost of Tsushima was that really unique game for me. When I was sitting there trying to decide what was game of the year for me, I was like, I've played The Last of Us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It may not have looked as gorgeous as it did there, and the story may have been different, or whatever twist you want to put, but I've played that game. Ghost of Tsushima, there may be elements to it that I have played before, but the entirety of the game felt wholly unique, like something I have not experienced as a gamer, and either in a long time, if ever. Because you tell me the last samurai game you played.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you one. I'm sure there are some out there. Some people are like, well, what about
I'm sure there's people.
this?
Well, what about?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, well.
I don't know, but not like this. This was one of those games. You know how I've talked about certain games where you play and they start off all bright and colorful, and then you get to these dark, drab, dreary, and it just kind of sucks you out of it because it's like you've sucked all the life out of it by the end of it because we're just in this monotone, colored fucking facility, or I don't know what it is. Ghost of Tsushima was constantly gorgeous to look at, no matter where you were in this world. It was just gorgeous to look at. It was a sight for your eyes at every single moment in time. And I loved that so much. I just wanted to explore because it was so freaking gorgeous.
Yeah.
You know? And so peaceful at times, too. You could just watch animals running around, and there was even a point where I got to where, I mean, as you ride through, you'll come across the Mongols, your enemies and whatnot. They'll obviously want to fight. I would start to just take side roads and be like, no, I'm not fighting you. I don't want to fight right now. I'm trying to chill out right now, man. So I'm just going to stay right here.
Yeah.
But it's a feast for your eyes. I love it.
I don't know how they choose them, man. I know that there's it's like games journalists, right, that are chosen as the judges or whatever. So I'm not sure what their actual process is for choosing. But
I'm sure they got paid off because, we have to get these bonuses. If we win the Game Awards, we get bonuses. I don't know.
We'll hear about that.
I'm assuming. I don't know. But you stopped me, man. You got 6 right. I only got 3. Now,
so Steven's the big winner out of the choosing.
Woo! I did jot down a few other winners, and for all the reasons I was just talking about, at least Ghost of Tsushima did win Best Art Direction. So
there you go.
So at least that was a well-deserved, because again, gorgeous game.
Right.
Every element of it is gorgeous. Best Score and Music went to Final Fantasy VII Remake, which
I've heard that music's pretty epic in that game.
Not to say it didn't deserve it, okay? Because I love that soundtrack, and even what they did with it, it was fantastic. My only gripe with that win is that it is a remake of an older soundtrack. So you're essentially giving this a win for redoing music that's already been done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I can understand that. Yeah. So it's not a wholly new thing.
Right. So I feel like if you're going to give that award to someone, I feel like it should be for a score that has not been done,
Sure. Yeah.
But again, it's a fantastic score. Don't get me wrong. I love it. It's just,
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Audio design went to The Last of Us Part 2, which I'm okay with. There's some good games for impact. Do you know what that was? Like what that award was meant for? Because I feel like Celeste won that last year, and I don't remember what its intention was. Maybe a message it was being sent.
Yeah, I feel like that's what I would be led to believe was like, how much did it make you feel?
Right.
Like, what was the narrative and the story so much, you were so invested that it actually, it affected you.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
So whatever that was, because I feel like it has something.
Yeah, for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message.
Tell Me Why was the name of the game that won that.
I can see that then. I haven't played it yet, but
I'm not aware of it enough, I guess, that it's not been on my radar.
I know we discussed it, I think, a little bit when it was first announced, because I hate to say that that's what makes this unique, but the fact that it was so inclusive, it was one of the first games, it might be the first game that had a trans person as the protagonist.
Oh, okay.
And was telling a story. So that's what I knew about it. I haven't picked it up yet. Those types of games, I tend to try to wait till everything is out when it's episodic like that, because I tend to want to just be able to play through it and not wait a month for the next story. But
sure,
yeah.
Outside of that, the best ongoing, No Man's Sky finally got a win.
There you go. Hey,
they finally made it.
They're getting there.
Best mobile game went to Among Us, which again I'm surprised.
Interesting.
That's another one of those that's recently gotten some traction. Fall Guys did win best community support, which good for them. They got
right. Okay,
there.
I can see that for sure.
There was innovation in accessibility, which I guess is for players with disabilities.
Sure.
Last of Us Part 2 somehow won that. I don't know what they did.
Does it have like a lot of colorblind options or things like that in it that I didn't look through? I wonder.
It may, and I'm not in that group, so I didn't
right.
look
So you weren't
for it.
actively looking for those settings, yeah.
But good for them. Role-playing game went to Final Fantasy VII. Best sim went to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Who would have thought?
It's gorgeous on the. It's interesting. I mean, it's not like a game, I don't think, but whatever.
Yeah, right.
But whatever.
Sports, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2. I think everybody was looking forward to that. Among Us won best multiplayer. So
good.
that was about it. There may have been more.
Good for them.
Good for all the winners. All the winners out there. But yeah, that was the Game Awards. I hope everybody enjoyed. Did you like who won? Do you have different thoughts on who won?
Yeah.
Let us know.
Yeah. I mean, like if you're asking me, it landed about, I guess, where I would have expected, for the year that we've had and all that stuff. Although, like I said, I was expecting Hades to have a little bit more love, especially for the little blow up that it seemed to have right before the Game Awards were about to happen. Because I tend to judge how much hype is going on about a thing at that time, because it's what's fresh in people's brains.
Sure.
So that was a little shocking.
Yeah.
I was expecting The Last of Us 2 to clean up, but probably not as much as it did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I guess. But all in all, especially for the ones that I have played and was familiar with, yeah, I mean...
It did.
For as much as these awards do for people, I guess, anyway, I'm sure it's just our way to get to celebrate the whole year for us gaming nerds, But, I mean, it has come to such an exceptional point that they do deserve accolades for their work in them, especially with the way the acting and the storytelling and everything is going these days with games that, why wouldn't they deserve the same kind of pomp and circumstance Oscars or something like that? They're putting a lot of work into these things.
Absolutely.
So
there you go, people. Game Awards. What'd you think?
Game Awards. What did you think? Are you like super upset about a win, or do you think this was just nail on the head, or were there games that just should have been announced or nominated that just like never for some reason even made it in?
Right.
At Jeff Keighley, I guess.
Yeah. Please
do
do
that. The two of you still here right now. Thank you. But don't do that. I don't want to start a Twitter war. Although I would grab popcorn. I would watch. I would pretend like this didn't happen. But that's our show. Woo. You, of course, can hit us up sometime on Twitter at SuperMegaCrash, like we were just saying. Let us know your thoughts on the Game Awards. You can send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. Go to Instagram and view all of the weekly icon art that Steven puts his time and love into. You can also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform. And you can even go to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. I can't talk today. Star Wars. Pencils. Star Wars. You can tell your friends to find us on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network or search... That's it. Did I just start over? Or you could just search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. Like on everything. How's that? Since apparently I can't talk. You could do it on Apple or Podbean or Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, and YouTube.com/Pencil Paper Productions. Hey, I did it.
Woo!
I did it. I'm closing out the year on a high note. Let's tell you what. Thank you so much for listening. I hope your holidays are bright and your new year goes off well. I am Lacey Finley.
And I am Stephen White, and I love Star Wars.
Star Wars. Star Wars. Join us again next time, Super Mega Crash Siblings. We will see you in 2021. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.